So we all want twin flame romance in our lives, but the way you get to romance with your twin flame is different than the way you've been taught to get to romance in general. And that's what causes problems with people on the twin flame journey, is they're trying to approach it from a way and from programming and from belief systems that don't work with your twin flame, because those things aren't based in divine love, right? So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why romance with your twin flame is better and different, okay, than other romantic relationships you might have had. And then we're going to talk about how to really create this space and how to attract twin flame romance. So let's start with that first thing. So twin flame romance is not the same thing as romance with a karmic or with a soulmate. And that's because your twin flame is one with you in your soul. So that romance with a karmic or a soulmate, what we're taught to do, and then what most people end up actually doing is this kind of I scratch your back, you scratch mine type of romance, where it's like, I do all these things for you, I make space for you, I listen to you, I take you out on dates, I get you flowers, and I kind of want you to do this thing for me in return, right? And that might not be what we explicitly say to them, but on an emotional, a spiritual, energetic level, that's what's happening. Okay, it's like a little bit of a tit for tat. Your twin flame is different though, because they are one with you. So the romance with them actually begins with you having a relationship with yourself where you are deeply treasuring and valuing and loving yourself and embodying that in your daily life. Because if you're not embodying that and there's some place where you're waiting for someone else to come in and give you that romantic piece, be it your twin flame or someone else, then you're going to have a hard time maintaining a romance with your twin flame, right? You'll kind of go back and forth with them, or just will have a hard time manifesting it, period. And even though that's different than what you might think, and maybe feels even a little counterintuitive to you, right? Like, how can I trust just treasuring and valuing myself is enough for this person to come in and have a romance and a romantic relationship with me? It's actually really rich and really natural, because when you think about it, like, don't you want to be with the person who wants to be with you more and more and more and more when you are loving yourself more and more and more and more, when you're not doing things to get their attention, but instead to fill you up inside and feel really, really good about yourself, and like you're overflowing and abundant and taken care of and going out there and living the life that feels really like invigorating and juicy and abundant to you, right? Don't you want the person who just wants to love you more and more the more you love yourself, right? That's what makes it so wonderful to really commit to the twin flame journey and be living from that union consciousness, right? Because then what happens with your twin flame romance is your twin flame romance isn't just this kind of one dimension of pleasure where, like, oh, I, do XYZ for him and then he brings me flowers every day and that's super sweet, right? Like, that's really sweet on a surface level, but what happens with twin flame romance is, like, as you become more of yourself and experience this like inner level of romance and really embodying all of who you are, then it expands and your twin flame is there with you and they're loving you, and their love teaches you how to love yourself more, and you loving yourself more is showing your twin flame how to love themselves more, and that love love of loving yourself, right? It is your ascension path. It is you coming closer to God and to your true nature, right? Which is ascension, is you becoming all of who you are, right? You're like connecting to the core of who you are, your divinity. And so the romance on the twin flame journey is not just sweetness and pleasure. Like, yes, that exists, but it's also ascension. And that's what makes everything you do with your twin flame and all of the healing you do here so like incredible and juicy, is because it's not just about getting him or her to do something with you or like you. It's that, oh my God, like I'm loving myself, they're coming closer to me, and that's also bringing me closer to God and to my true self. And so romance becomes a path to God, and to me that's incredible, right? So that's why romance with your twin flame is so different, and it does require a different approach and mindset than what you've been taught. So I want to like slow you down right here, because I just like give you a lot. So if you're anything like me, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I was super confused on the twin flame journey. I was trying my best. I had no concept of what it meant to romance myself. Like I got like self-care tips and all that, but that's like really surface level compared to what your twin flame journey is asking from you. And I just didn't know what to do. And so that's why I'm really happy to be able to offer you something called the Twin Flame Romance Report. And you can find out how to book one in the pinned comment and in the description. The Twin Flame Romance Report is going to ease your mental confusion, but also the fear or the anxiety in your heart about your twin flame. Okay, and it's going to give you a tangible next step for your twin flame journey. It's going to give you an actual channeled message from your twin flame. It's going to give you an actual like feedback on how you're doing on the journey and what specific areas you're called to go deeper on in order to actually manifest union and come to that union and harmonious union consciousness with your twin flame. And I love the romance report so much because of that. It's like it's like going to the doctor for a physical, except you're going to your twin flame ascension coach for your like checkup on the twin flame journey. But it's not just a checkup, it's so deep and rich, and it gives you feedback, but it loves you and it connects you to your twin flame's heart too. So yes, if you are passionate about romance and you really want to know your next step and you just want to connect more deeply on the journey and the center of your heart, you're ready to clarify things, please check out the offer for the romance report below. This is a limited offer. So there's an incredible deal where the romance, I don't do numbers, but it's like well over 50% off, right? For the sake of Valentine's Day. That offer will close after Valentine's Day, so check it out below. And get your romance report, because I so badly wish I had been able to get one 6 or 7 years ago. I'm getting one now anyways, just because it's fun. And I love being romanced, whether it's by my twin flame or by myself or by this report. So now let's move back into how we are going to ground romance in our lives. Okay, so there's 2 things you really need to come to inside of you in order to ground into the vibration of romance, so you're also can attract and expand into romance with your twin flame. So the first thing we're going to need is to have the inner space and choose the inner space within yourself to really be present with your needs and desires and attend to your needs and desires. Okay, so what I see blocking people here and what I've been working through myself to go deeper with this too is sometimes people are in survival mode for so long, they don't even notice they're in survival mode. So this has to do with healing and letting your nervous system relax, right? And be able to feel safe, acknowledging the support and the love you need, and putting your fulfillment of that, your needs and desires first, right? If you feel like your needs aren't being met right now, like your basic needs, then that has to come first. That has to be met. You have to prioritize yourself there. If you feel like your social needs or your body's needs or your creative needs or your beauty and aesthetic needs, whatever, if they feel like they're not being met, you have to give yourself permission to meet those and know that it's safe to put yourself first here and have those met. And your desires too are important, and this is such a common wound I've seen with parents, with divine feminines, with single parents, especially people who grew up in households where it felt like there was never enough, or people who grew up in households where they emotionally took care of the adults around them. There's this common thing of not putting yourself and your emotional needs first and giving yourself the space to be nurtured and cared for, right? Like your auto mode might be to put others first or do the job first, and then attend to yourself. But the reality is everything you do in the world is flowing from you. And so if you are not feeling taken care of, it's gonna feel bad to take care of other people and do all this other work, unless you numb out to your own feelings, which I've seen people do that too. So you have to acknowledge your needs and desires, and then let yourself have permission to take care of them, right? Step out of survival mode. And that means doing the healing to believe that you are loved and supported and cared for when you truly put yourself first and prioritize what you need and what's in your heart. So yeah, romance relies on you being willing to actually make yourself a priority there and acknowledge your needs and desires, right? If you're not met in those places, then you're not going to feel comfortable expanding into romance, or you're not going to feel very romanced yourself, right? The bare minimum for romance is feeling taken care of, and if you don't feel taken care of, that doesn't leave a lot of room for sustained romance, So wherever you are at right now, whatever your circumstance may be, all you need to do is take the next step to care for you and love you. Okay, and that's enough to move forward. So let's go to the next kind of condition. So that next condition is going to be you feeling worthy of love and romance. And that means we can let go of any guilt around letting yourself focus on you and letting yourself receive good things, and knowing that you are worthy of good things and abundant good things too. There just can't be space for guilt about that, because then you're gonna impede yourself from embodying romance and from accepting romance and accepting love from others as well. So a shift has to be made within, where you treat yourself like you are worthy of love and romance. And that goes really hand in hand with the first point, where some might have inner beliefs that they're only worthy if they get the job done, or if they've taking care of other people, but really you're just unconditionally worthy of love and of romance. But you have to accept that you're unconditionally worthy, and you have to treat yourself like you're unconditionally worthy. Otherwise, you're not, in the space to receive it, right? And to expand in that love and in that romance. So it begins with treating yourself that way and making the inner shift there. And to tie this back to your twin flame, okay, we need to remember your twin flame is one with you in your soul. So the romance with your twin flame isn't really coming from this other person outside of you. The romance with your twin flame happens naturally as you make that choice to decide like you're worthy of that, and you treat yourself that way. You embody it, because then when you embody it and you embody something, then it expands, and you notice your twin flame is doing the same thing. Right? Embodiment is like the full grounding of an inner choice. So yeah, shift into embodying your worthiness of romance. Because when we don't do that, then even if your twin flame tries to come in and offer you love or a little flirtation or tries to take care of you in some way, if you haven't decided you're worthy within, and it's okay, and you are chosen and you are loved and you are worthy, then part of you might flinch or not really believe it when your twin flame does try to offer you that, right? And if they do try to offer you that, and you've noticed in the past, like you don't really believe it, or you flinch, or you're scared it's gonna go away, or you get anxious about it, like don't be hard on yourself. It's okay. Your twin flame, was guided to do that because, God is moving through your twin flame to show you where you can go deeper in healing and relaxing into your worthiness and into inner romance and into feeling loved and good and chosen, and knowing that it's okay to just be in that space. So to wrap those 2 points together, as you commit to prioritizing yourself and your needs to be loved and your desires to be loved in certain ways, and whatever, and as you commit to feeling and just accepting that you're worthy of love and romance, right? It's a choice to accept it in your heart, even if you haven't ever felt worthy before. It's a choice to just accept it, right? Like, okay, well, this is reality, so I'm just gonna go with it, right? And act as though I'm worthy, and then let myself kind of vibrate into that space. But anyways, as you do both of those things, right, then you create the circumstances which allow you to naturally move about your day romancing yourself, right? Doing things that feel really good to you, setting up routines that feel really nourishing to you, taking those little breaks and moments and instances to really be present with yourself and fall in love with you, right? And that, you embodying it there, that's when it expands into your twin flame. And when you're embodying that, not because you're like, oh, I'm gonna romance myself so my twin flame likes me more, right? When you're embodying it because it feels just good to do that, and there's no other way you would rather live than embodying love for yourself, right? That's when it really hits you at the core, and it hits your twin flame at the core, and they begin to reflect that back to you. So that is how romance comes to be. I hope you enjoyed this video on twin flame romance. I know I loved talking about it. I do encourage you to get that romance report. It is linked below, pinned comments in the description. If you are looking at this after February 14th, 2026, don't worry, the romance report is still available. It just might not have the same deal, okay? And you can also see how to work with me in other ways below as well. So yes, enjoy this Valentine's season, and I will see you next time.